Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of The Scoop. It is Friday, the 25th of October, which is so close to the Halloween weekend. Yes, I don't know if you guys probably heard it. If you're listening to this on podcast services, go over to YouTube, watch the intro. We've got a cool new Halloween-inspired Scoop intro, which is obviously completely different from the usual ones that we have, even though the show is a nightmare most of the time. That said, speaking of nightmares, it is only going to be me that's going to be giving you the video game goodness this week, as Graham's internet has decided to shit the bed nice and early, 6 days after he got new internet installed to try and avoid the internet shit in the bed. 6 days later, it's actually gone and done that. So, yes, it will just be me that'll be giving you the news this morning. I do apologise if my voice starts to croak or it sounds slightly odd compared to normal, because I am starting to come down with a cold again. But you just have to go in and bear that for the next 40 to 45 minutes, as this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m-ish. That is no longer the case. Obviously, this is now a weekly episode of The Scoop rather than it being a daily. We have got far too much going on in work at this moment in time to be able to dedicate a show on a daily basis, which is unfortunate because obviously it's something that we love doing. The amount of episodes that we was able to get through on a weekly basis, going live at 10 a.m, which never happened. But we managed to rack up over 900 episodes, I think, and obviously now this is going to only be 52 episodes a year. That may end up changing in the future, but the way that a Jelly Media is expanding as a business, I highly doubt that's going to be the case unless they replace me and Graham, which we are irreplaceable, to say the least. But yes, this is now obviously an episode that goes live each and every Friday, which general consensus, it doesn't work for a lot of you lot. I don't know whether or not it's because you have to go into the office on a Friday or whatever, but the general consensus was Thursday, which actually doesn't work for me and Graham, which is obviously why you're getting on a Friday. But yeah, unfortunately at this moment in time, we are having to put this as a weekly show rather than a daily one. Again, that may end up changing, but not anytime soon. But yeah, it is just going to be me today, so it is classed as a dollop. This show will probably be around 40 to 45 minutes max. May even be a little sooner if we can get through the articles a little sooner. No one wants to hear one person waffling on for an hour, especially in podcast form when you're talking about video game news, because you're only pretty much going to hear my opinions unless you guys obviously want to help shape the show, which you can do live over on Twitch when we do go live. If you're not following us on all of our social media platforms, I suggest that you do so now so that you'll be notified as and when we're going live. Very simple. Oh, add Blue Sky to that list as well. Obviously, Blue Sky has now been rolled out to the masses. So if you haven't signed up to Blue Sky yet and you do have your handle across all social media platforms, I suggest that you go over and do that now, even if you've got no intention of using it, just so that you can secure your own handle. I went and did that earlier this week, as well as getting the ice cream uploads one. Graham has obviously gone and got his too. We've got no intention of actually rolling anything out on there just yet. However, it's there now for us as and when we need it. So yeah, if you've not already been onto Blue Sky, I suggest that you go over and do that now. It basically looks exactly like Twitter does, or did, before Elon took it over, without the bots writing and supplying and trying to sell you stuff under every single post that you get underneath there. It basically works how Twitter used to work before obviously all the money came into it and the monetization. So it does look like it's going to be a half decent platform. Whether or not it's going to be another one of those Hive situations where everyone says we're going to move it over to Hive and then it ends up closing down 6 months later because no one ends up using it. I don't know. But yes, if you are a content creator or someone who just likes using social media as it is, get over there now, go and secure your handle even if you've got no intention of using it. This is just a little small PSA for you guys, so that no one can try and intimidate? No. What's the word? The word's just gone straight out my head. 1 second. The word has gone out my head, but someone could imitate, there we go. If someone could try and imitate you using your normal social handles, we've got with Benio is obviously mine. Follow us. Ice cream uploads. Follow us. At Graham. There's no underscore, I don't think, so I think it's just Graham Day. Go and follow him as well. But ladies and gentlemen, we have got a show for you today. 4 news articles, 3 of them are actually news articles, 1 of them is the Free Game Friday. 4 news articles, 1 of them is a Free Game Friday as well. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring the news up for you today. News. Hopefully this will work. I did test it earlier to make sure. And there we go. Bosh. Written over at Eurogamer by Matt Wales. He states that the analyst reckons that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 could bring up to 4 million new Game Pass subscribers, but 6 million sales could also be lost. So with that, he says Call of Duty Black Ops 6 almost upon or already on us, depending on your graphical location. Analysts have been weighing up the impacts of it's likely to have on Microsoft, on Xbox Game Pass, with some reckoning that it could be bringing as many 4 million new members to Microsoft subscription services, albeit at a cost of up to 6 million sales. Black Ops 6 will, of course, be the first Call of Duty title to launch day one on Game Pass, Ultimate and PC Game Pass. The move marking a critical test for Microsoft's subscription service strategy following the $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard last year. As Black Ops 6 Game Pass launch will lead to significant surge of new subscribers, according to an analyst interviewed by GamesIndustry.biz, albeit at the expense of game sales. Weedbush Securities Managing Director Michael Patcher, for instance, believes Microsoft will see between 3 and 4 million new members following Black Ops 6 Game Pass launch. Although he reckons that it could result in up to $6 million lost sales, based on the idea that 25% of Game Pass subscribers may have bought the game anyway. I don't know if we need to read all of it. We've kind of got the gist there, but I'll go on anyway. Amper's head games analyst Piers Harding-Rolls, meanwhile, was slightly less optimistic about Black Ops 6's Game Pass allure, telling GamesIndustry.biz its introduction will likely only see a result in 10% subscriber boost to Game Pass Ultimate, equating to approximately 2.5 million members, while noting all of those will be completely new users, giving some will be upgrading from lower Game Pass tiers. Microsoft will be trading premium full game sales in exchange for a bigger audience that can be monetized in gaming, he continued. Adding, Call of Duty is increasingly a live service game first and foremost, with that monetizes strongly in-game. The fact that he noted raises questions about how Black Ops 6 will be monetized and whether there will be big onus on in-game monetization, compared to previous entries in the franchise. Nobody knows what Microsoft's expectations are for Game Pass growth launch, Catan Games' Dr. Sirkin Toto added. But if Black Ops 6 does not meet targets, things can become very grim very quickly. I also wonder if Black Ops 6 will be able to retain subscribers in the long run, or if numbers will drop sharply again earlier next year after the initial hype runs out. As for Black Ops 6's Game Pass launch might impact PlayStation, given Sony has traditionally positioned itself as a primary place to play Call of Duty through its previous marketing and exclusivity deals with Activision Blizzard, Harding-Rolls doubts that the longer-term audience on PlayStation will be significantly disrupted. Those who own both Xbox and PlayStation consoles may be swayed to play the game on Microsoft devices, he explained, but cross-platform play and multi-platform accounts mean that is not necessarily a permanent decision. Expect Microsoft to be trumping loudly if Call of Duty Black Ops 6 proves to be the Game Pass success it's hoping for. The company's most recent shared membership figures back in February, for the first time since 2022, reporting that 34 million fully paid subscribers upon the 25 million members announced previously. As for Black Ops 6 itself, its most interesting thing to come out of its launch so far is that some of its characters are inadvertently turning blue. What an end to the paragraph. What an end. Let's bring my face back on again. So, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Black Ops 6 is the proving ground for what the concept of Game Pass is going to be in the future. Now, it's not the face of an angel. I highly doubt that. Our morning hour tracks anyway. This is... we all know the reason why Microsoft ended up getting Activision Blizzard in the first place was for this. Just for Call of Duty. That is their biggest moneymaker. In my opinion, it is the game that sells consoles for people. People take days off work like today, the launch of the game in the UK, to be able to play this game as soon as possible. People would have stayed up till midnight for that clock to strike 12, for them to be able to load straight in, get into those lobbies, and they're probably still playing now, 11 hours later. This is the game that is going to try to make their money back as quickly as possible. Now, the biggest caveat that they had with this, and again, it doesn't take a genius. If I was to have this conversation with anybody on the street that understands even the smallest part of business, the pros and cons of this are in such a small balance that I still don't know how this is going to fall. As you've seen, that they've got upwards of 4 million brand new subscribers or returning subscribers back to Game Pass just to be able to play this game for, I don't know, is it £8? I can't remember what the current prices are for it. Is it? I think it's £13 for Game Pass Ultimate, and I think £8 just to be able to play it on your console. That is an unbelievable price to be able to try and play this game. Like, just to be able to... as I was reading through the article, then I assumed that this was just going to be on your normal Game Pass. Or do you have to have Ultimate to be able to have access to this? If that's the case, then the difference of £4 is neither here nor there with this. Especially when this game is being sold in shops for £70, £75. Upwards of that for the Vault editions and things, like the £100, £120 editions of this game. If you wanted to be able to try this game just for 1 month and see how you fare with it, £14 is a small price to pay. Obviously, that means that if you do want to buy the game afterwards, you're paying another £70 on top of that to be able to own the game to a degree. But if you obviously think that you're only going to get 4 or 5 months out of it, if that's your normal cycle for a Black Ops game, then maybe Xbox Game Pass is the way to go for this. Like, you can just subscribe for 5 or 6 months, have access to all the other hundreds of games that are in their libraries and some absolute bangers, obviously day ones, as well as first party titles as well. They haven't got as many as they used to do, or they're not making games like they used to do, but there's still a lot of games for you to be able to go through in there. Now, as Microsoft's biggest seller in Game Pass, like, there's people that are buying Xbox Series S's just to be able to play. It's a Game Pass machine. That's essentially what ended up happening with me. I got the Series S just to be a Game Pass machine. Like, it doesn't have a disc drive. I've got hundreds of games behind me and also in the cabinet here that are Xbox 360 games or Xbox One games that I don't have the facility to be able to do that with this console. 1 second. Obviously, it's just a digital-only console, so I can only download the games and be able to play them. But they're betting that people will either try this game for the 1 month and then continue that subscription service, whether or not it's going to be on whether or not it's going to be on a monthly or yearly basis, in the anticipation that they'll have more subscribers than they will have copies sold on this. Now, that only goes for the Xbox side of it. That obviously doesn't go for the PlayStation side of this. I don't know if you just heard my notifications, and for WhatsApp, I do apologise. You haven't got a notification. That was on my side. I can see this number growing. I think 4 million is quite a small drop in the ocean for something like a Call of Duty game. I feel like by the end of the month, it's probably going to be balanced. It's probably the 6 million in sales that they think that they would have lost with this. I do think that this will probably balance out at having maybe 6 million subscribers, and then obviously the people that are buying it over on PlayStation, for instance. What does insulin feel like? I have no idea, Dora. No idea. What does insulin feel like? I don't fucking know. Anyway, I don't know how this is going to plan out for them. I do believe it probably will be a moderate success. Whether or not they end up making as much money as I think they're going to do with this, it depends on obviously how the battle passes go, whether or not the in-game cosmetic items are worth buying, whether or not they end up bringing back events like the Halloween one that we had a couple of years ago, where we had like the Terminator or Ghostface and stuff like that. Are you an alligator? Because you're people smart. Don't pack it in. Chill. Okay. Are you a fan of Black Ops? Are you planning on playing it today? We do have Black Ops, by the way, and we'll be going live tonight with it. It will be after 8 o'clock. I'll be putting the boy to bed and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. Even though the omnidirection stuff, it's really off-putting to me. I think it's far too fluid. So we'll just have to see where it goes with that. I'm going to play around with the tutorial and stuff, probably play with a few of the settings just to try and get a little bit more finesse in there. Like, I really enjoy playing XDefiant. I know that is probably the Ubisoft's that's Ubisoft's comparison to what Call of Duty is like, and I really enjoyed playing that one. But the thing is, with first-person shooters, I get quite bored quite easily with them, especially if I'm absolutely toilet. I've got no desire to get good at games anymore. Like, if I'm shit at it, that's absolutely fine. I can move on to the next game because the backlog is so big. I can move on to the next one with single player, multiplayer, and stuff like that. I'm no good at multiplayer games anymore. I don't play them enough to get good. I don't want to get good because that means it's investing a lot of time that I don't have to be able to get good. So I'm always excited to try out a new Call of Duty game. I've played them all my life. We'll see where this one lands because at the moment I'm hearing a lot of mixed messages about it, but that's up to us to be able to do it, doesn't it? Dora, carry on, and we'll have to ban you from this. So Adam Online says it's a gamble they can afford to make it because if it works, great. If it doesn't, they can just have another crack in 12 months. This is it. This is the proving ground for them, and they're very aware of that. They're very self-aware in the fact that they can afford to. They can afford to miss 12 months worth of money. Now, that sounds ridiculous because this game makes money hand over fist, but they can afford to experiment with Call of Duty. No other video game company in the world will probably be able to do that. But the amount of money that they end up getting across the board from all games, they can probably afford to, I don't know, miss a couple of mil from this. So the fact that it is on Game Pass now and you can try it for it does allude in this that you have to have Game Pass Ultimate. I am not sure if that's the absolute case, but even then, it's like a £3 or £4 price difference. They can afford to probably tamper with that. But say for it, we'll just use a top level line. It's £13. You can try it for 1 month. If you don't like it, then you don't have to pay it again. But obviously, they want you to keep having that subscription. They want you to have that £13 and go, fuck, I'm actually getting good value for money here. I'll just buy them. I'll buy the year up front. And then whatever the current price is for the year up front, is it like 70 quid or something? It might be a little bit more. I'm so out of touch with it. I just have in mind as like a recurring bill, and whatever the monthly bill is, that's what the bill is. But yeah, whatever the yearly value is, then obviously want you to be able to do that and then play all of the other games that they have on there, not just Call of Duty, because the stats of all the other games will go, actually, this is a very profitable business for us to be able to have. If you're just playing one game, it's profitable if there's enough people just playing that game. But as a collective, they still probably need to pay these companies to have their game on there. So you playing that game, that have the stats for that game, saying we've had 7,000 people playing your game this week. Great. It's usually only 2, but there's been an update. We've got another 5,000 people coming back. Fantastic. So they obviously want you to play all of the games, or as many as that they can, that you can on that platform, so that they can try and get some stats for it. But yeah, of course they want you to have an Xbox Game Pass subscription because it's a recurring bill. Very much like, I imagine most of you are still playing for Amazon Prime. I imagine most of you are paying for Netflix. I imagine most of you are paying for any of the other on-demand services that are out there. All the anime, is it Crunchyroll anime ones? I don't know. I'm not into anime, so subscription services, that's what they want you to be able to have. I think Game Pass is still, even if it has gone up in price, is still the best value product in video games, with the amount of games that are on there and the quality of the games that are on there. Fantastic service. Dora says, so it's okay. The real question is, how's the anti-cheat looking? That is a very good question, and one that I will not be able to answer. 1 second. I don't play this game on PC, so I genuinely have no idea what the cheat measures are like on PC versus console. I will go out on a limb and say that I get very rarely do I come across any kind of in-depth cheaters on console. It's blatantly obvious when you do. However, the frequency is so low compared to what it is on PC that I can't really comment on it because I don't play first-person shooters on PC. I do, but I don't play Call of Duty ones on there because I ain't paying for it on both consoles, you know what I mean? Again, very lucky in the fact that we ended up getting codes for this today from Activision UK. So we will be playing this again. We will be playing this tonight. Shout out to the Activision guys for providing a code for me and Graham to be able to play this later on. If Graham's PC internet decides to start running. But yeah, very blessed in the fact that we've been given codes for this one again. As we have for the last 3 or 4 years, actually. Obviously, we shout them out as we used to be part of the COD partnership stuff way back in the day, and that thing doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, for the UK content creators, we was part of that clan, and they still look after us, even though that has been disbanded. They still look after us, which is fantastic, and I can't shout about that enough. We'll always give them props for that. It doesn't mean that they are completely immune from any kind of opinions of what I have with the game. I've always been either critical or supportive, depending on what the circumstances are around it. So that will not change tonight. But they've always backed us, they've always supported us, so I very much appreciate them for being coming through and obviously still providing codes for myself and Graham, which is amazing. Adam Online says, still play DMZ on Modern Warfare 2. It's blatant in 50% of the matches that I join. I love DMZ. That was probably the best mode that they've included in Call of Duty in such a long time. Me, Graham, Ads, and I can't remember who else played us, Nietzsche. When we used to jump into DMZ, that was possibly some of my favourite moments in playing Call of Duty. There was one particular instance where it was the last plane, it was the last extraction on the map, and we managed to get there and defend it for about 3 minutes. I managed to get away whilst we was being ambushed left, right, and centre. I don't know whether or not we had a clip of it. I might be able to dig it out and get it reposted again, because it was one of my favourite Call of Duty moments of all time. But yeah, there is a lot of fun to be had with Call of Duty, but I'm not a sweat lord. Like, my kill death stuff doesn't interest me. If I'm playing capture the flag, you better believe that I'm trying to capture that flag. Just camping around to try and get the kills and stuff. Just going to team deathmatch, going to Warzone. Like, these are the things that started to move me away from FPS games and the likes of Battlefield, obviously, Call of Duty and all of the other ones, because it's not as fun as it used to be. Now, this is a proper old bastard thing to say, but there isn't as much enjoyment in online games as there used to be. I would much rather have some couch co-op stuff, whether or not I'd be playing football games or whatever. The fact that I'm sitting next to someone who's probably like-minded when I'm playing football games, and it's not just an absolute sweat fest, no one mauling the right analog stick. That's where the enjoyment comes from. And obviously nowadays, maybe because of the content creation world and the fact that you can record your matches or you record your skills and stuff. Like, back in the day, you just upload them to YouTube and you'd be doing 360 no scopes off top of buildings and stuff like that, and that was kind of cool. But nowadays, it's, if you aren't winning, then you're seen as being much more inferior, rather than content creation being about entertainment. And that's where a lot of my Twitch time, I'm not going to lie, I'm nowhere near as active on Twitch as I used to be, whether or not that'll be in people's streams or streaming myself and things like that. The whole entertainment part of it is where I thrive. That's where I get my enjoyment. And a lot of the times now is I want to be the best. I want to be the number one on that leaderboard. And that isn't my personality. Having a laugh and entertainment should be the number one key thing when going live on content. If you are a pro player, that is completely different. If you are someone who wants to be number one, who is aspiring to be a professional gamer, the top 1%, that's absolutely fine. And you will have an audience for that stuff. There is content creators out there that are very, very good at that. But the other 99% of us are nowhere near good enough, genuinely. So the entertainment part of it, I don't care if someone told me that there was absolutely dog shit at this game and they was playing it with their friends and stuff, I am much more likely to watch that than someone who was trying to be number one. That's just the way I sit with it. And there's a lot more tryhards or whatever term that you want to use in there. And I don't think that's that entertaining, which is a lot of the time why I don't spend it much on Twitch anymore. It's a lot more on the YouTube side of things, where people are making, I don't know, documentaries, or they're making episodes with their friends offline to then upload as like a, I don't know, compilation. That's much more entertaining, and I can definitely get behind that. There is a space for both things to live in this content creation world, but I'm definitely in the entertainment part rather than the triad. I'm trying to be number one, toxic as fuck, everyone else is dog shit, but I'm the best. That's where I currently sit. And you know what? I probably think that the vast majority of the people that are in this community as well, because the demographic of our community, I think, is about 30 to 55. So I think that's where a lot of our community sit as well, which is obviously why our Discord is it's always going on. There's always people talking and stuff, which I think that's where we found this nice little, I say niche community. There is obviously like the 30 plus community, which is what it says on the tin. It's full of 30 plus people, age 30 plus people, not just 30 people plus. I mean, there is a lot more than 30 people in there, but you get what I'm trying to say. You get where I'm going with this. It's the whole aesthetic of the entertainment industry is first and foremost what drew me to it, wanting to stream and entertain, because I'm dog shit at video games. Like, I will be the first to say when I'm booting into a lobby that I'm probably going to be bottom of the leaderboard for a lot of this. So that's where I think, do you know what? The entertainment side of it is what I would focus on more, if that makes any sense. Now, it's quite difficult to try and be an entertaining person when you're on a podcast with one person, so I apologise if that's not coming across very well in this. But, you know, when I'm playing with my mates, we got a couple of hot mics going on there. That's where the entertainment, I hope, ends up thriving. And I think that's why we've ended up bringing people in, like playing with the same people. You get people like Lotus that comes into our stream regularly, that plays with us, but like Nietzsche, like MC Fixer. These guys are all they're all characters. Not as a person, but they all have their own different personalities, that their characters are they're not playing somebody else, but their whole personality is the character, if that makes any sense. Like, naturally funny, very energetic. That's the kind of thing that we want. That's the kind of the direction that you want, because that's how you end up bouncing off people. If you get somebody who's just like in the party, that's, I don't know, constantly shouting, singing, kind of obnoxious, and you're trying to create content and stuff like that, and they're shouting over you, that's not... That doesn't work with me, and I think that's quite deflating as someone who's trying to entertain. But yeah, that's my whole stance on the Twitch entertainment streaming side of things. I'd love to actually do a talk more on that with a couple of other people and try and get their perspectives on it as well, because I don't know whether or not we'd meet in the middle, whether or not it'd be favourable my side, whether or not it'd be favourable their side. And I'm always happy to have discussions like that on where people stand, because everyone's ambitions are completely different. Mine is to try and be as entertaining as possible. Like, my personality is to try and entertain. Maybe that's at a detriment to other things, I don't know. But I think I'm doing okay with that part of my personality. But yeah, anyway, I don't know why this has gone from bloody Call of Duty over to what I'm watching on Twitch currently. Our track says, stop playing COD because the cheating got so bad. I hope they bring it back in some form. It was a great attempt at the extraction genre, says Adam. It just needed more love, confirmed. Our track starts singing the Pokemon theme tune. I knew as soon as it started leaving my mouth that would be the case. Dave says, I was just thinking that. That's what I liked about Masters of the League. I'm not really a football fan, but the banter between you and Graham kept me watching. And that's it. Like, as much as we couldn't control what happened on the pitch, the whole point of Masters of the League was the smallest part of it. Us playing the game was the smallest part of Masters of the League. We are trying to do that with the pro club side of things, where we're trying to bring more people in there, but again, you've probably heard me say this before, but there is no way that I would play in pro clubs with 10 other people in the party. That will never happen. It's so frustrating to hear when I'm playing with 10 other people in the party, because no one can get a word in edgeways. There's people who are trying to be louder than others, and it's not fun. Even if I'm not streaming, there is no way that I'm playing pro clubs with 10 other people anymore. As much fun as it is, my brain it rots my brain after about 5 matches. So it will always be in smaller numbers. Like I'm not going to talk about the conversations that me, Graham, and Fixer have had in terms of where ICF is going to go in the future. But we have got a good idea of how we can try and make it work in that sense, where we do bring other people in, but maybe not necessarily in the party atmosphere. But we can work it out. But yeah, that's essentially what Masters of the League was. We wanted it to... Masters of the League was the smallest part of it, was the actual playing of the game. All of the stuff that went on before and after it in the changing rooms, all of that stuff was scripted out. We'd talk about what beats we wanted to do for each episode, where we needed to be. Obviously, that got accelerated if we ended up winning a lot more games. Like, our intention was to slowly climb the leagues, maybe a cup run and things like that, but maybe we dropped the difficulty down a little bit too much because we started winning stuff instantly, which was kind of a fast track to where we needed to be, and we had to adapt the way that the show, or the way that the series went. I think we ended up doing 90 plus episodes of that, which was so good during lockdown, like just to be able to try and switch off around everything else, that not being able to leave the house for a start, but speaking to you guys on Twitch every single day. And again, making friends. We made a lot of friends that ended up coming into it that enjoyed the series. Now, wanted the series to come back, and the Sunderland Till I Die that Nietzsche and Graham was doing was so good. It was so good. It's a shame that I'm not going to say it's finished or it's ended, but obviously we haven't had an episode for a while. But yeah, they're the types of things that we like to try and make storylines and try and entertain first. All the other stuff can fall into place afterwards. And I think that's very much where this channel is. We want to be able... You'll see that from the videos that we put out on YouTube. Like, they are very... we try to be entertaining / informative with the content that we create over on YouTube, whereas when we go live on Twitch, we just want to be entertainers first. And I think that definitely shows in the content that we end up creating. Is definitely catered to a completely different audience than we probably intended to have when we first started this channel. I feel like over the last 7.5 years, might even be 8 years old come December. I imagine the plans for the channel were much different back then. All about exposure and trying to grow numbers and stuff. But I feel definitely over the last 3 years we've moved away from that and being entertainment first. And I see where we end up with that later on. Adam says, I agree to gravitate to the entertainment aspect over the mad skills aspect. And you get lost noise when it's more than 4 people. Exactly. And that's... 4 is the perfect number. Now, obviously, when it comes to football, you can't really do that because there's 11 people on the pitch, and in pro clubs is all about having a player on the pitch at any given one time. So we've talked about ways that we could potentially introduce more people to his stream and obviously our stream when we both co-streaming EAFC and pro clubs. But you are not going to see 11 people in either of our party chats. We've already discussed it. It's far too much. I can't concentrate at the best of times, and I feel like that would definitely tip me over the edge, and Fixer is definitely in that mind space as well as Graham. It's far too much. The Battle Royale aspect of it, where you only got 4 people in your party with 4 similar-ish type personalities but different senses of humour, works a lot of the time, and I feel like that's where we end up thriving. So having any more than that, like I say, it's just lost noise and it's just people talking for the sake of talking, which is absolutely fine if you're offline and you're not trying to make content. But if you are in a streamers league, or like we're trying to make clips maybe of the world's worst shot, which Fixer ended up having a power shot and it went out for a throw-in, things like that. That's the kind of content that we want to be able to create and have a laugh. But 11 people screaming at each other definitely isn't going to be that. Anyway, we're not going to talk anymore about pro clubs for today. We're not going to be playing it tonight. We're going to be playing some Black Ops. I've already mentioned that twice, but we'll swiftly move on to the next part of the show because I feel like we're severely running out of time. PlayStation Stars will no longer give credit to money spent on subscriptions, which I always thought was a really bizarre thing for them to do in the first place. But we'll move. PlayStation Stars will no longer give players credit for money spent on subscriptions following an update. The program, which gives players points based on how much money they've spent on the PlayStation Store, as well as the competition of in-app requests, allows them to trade those points for PSN credit, among other items. Until now, money spent on subscriptions such as PS Plus and EA Play will contribute to a user's PlayStation Star level. That is no longer the case. PlayStation Star points will now start to expire over a year from the date that they were acquired, rather than 2 years. An email sent to the PlayStation Stars users read, 1 second, let me just take a swig of this, my voice is starting to go. Effective October 24th, new points earned will expire at the end of each month plus 12 months from the date of which they appear in your PlayStation Stars account balance. Let me just work that out. At the end of the month plus 12. Okay, so technically, if you purchase it on the 1st of the month, you'll get 12 months plus the month that you subscribe. So if you subscribe, if you bought something in the January the 1st, you'd get until the end of February the following month, the following year. Maybe, I don't know. Points earned prior to October 2024 will continue to expire at the end of each month, plus 24 months from the date on which they appear in your PlayStation Stars account balance. Effective from March 1st, 2025, the definition of eligible purchases will be updated to exclude all subscription payments made on the PlayStation Store, including any initial or renewal of subscription payments for PlayStation Plus or any other subscription services, which means that points will no longer be earned on subscription payments. PlayStation Stars launched in late 2022 via the PlayStation app. At the time, Sony said it planned to expand the services to consoles at a later date. By joining PlayStation Stars, you can use your gaming skills to collect unique digital collectibles and earn rewards according to the platform holder. Complete campaigns, earn points, and show off your collectibles in a digital display case for the Amazon for the PlayStation app. Where the hell did Amazon come from? As a way of celebrating your love of play and PlayStation experiences. Let me have a quick drink before we move back. So it was always bizarre to me that you always ended up getting money back from your subscription. I always thought that model was losing out on money with that. And I was happy to see that it lasted nearly 2 years before they probably realised how much money they might have been losing from that. I don't believe people are using PlayStation Stars to show off their digital collectibles. I feel like it was definitely like a cashback type thing. Like people would buy games constantly through the app, get the points, and then maybe end up using those points towards EAFC points or towards another game later down the line. They might have been able to buy 20 games and get one free type deal. I don't believe they was using it to show off their digital collectibles. I feel like that is definitely not what that was being used for. But yeah, the subscription part of it I always thought was quite weird, because obviously you need to buy the subscription to be able to play a lot of the games. Not games obviously like Fortnite or Rocket League, the free-to-play games. You don't need to have any kind of PlayStation online account, shall we say, PlayStation Network account. But the fact that you could earn money back from it was a nice bonus. I didn't think it was going to last long. It's lasted a lot longer than I thought it was going to do. But the fact that you was able to get money back from it initially was a bit of a weird thing to begin with. But yeah, it's no longer going to happen as of March the 1st, 2025. So if you've got points, you better start using them rather than sitting on them, because you'll only have 12 months to be able to use them rather than the 2 years, which, again, I thought was quite a long amount of time. Maybe it took 2 years for you to be able to keep on paying your subscriptions to maybe earn something back, and I thought, can't do that anymore. We'll just make it 1 year so you don't get enough to be able to purchase something. You genuinely need to buy games or buy games or DLC or in-game boxes if you're playing Call of Duty or EAFC points or anything like that, and it's going through their accounts to be able to tick that off. But yeah, I mean, this is news because it might shock a few people, but I don't think it shocked me in the sense that I can't believe that they had it going on for that long anyway, and you got money back for subscription packs, which again, completely bizarre. But anyway, we'll go on to our last news story of today before going on to the Free Game Friday. And it's actually one that's quite near and dear to my heart. It's an old game that's kind of getting a remaster. You guys may have ended up playing it, or it might have been one that passed you by, but it's definitely one of my favourites from back in the day. So, written on VGC by Tom Ivan, he goes on to say that the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver remasters get boss reveal trailer and new map details. The remaster collection is coming to PC and consoles in December. Now, this is an instant day one purchase for me. Massive Soul Reaver fan. Absolutely incredible games. So Aspyr has released a new Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered trailer along the fresh details about the updates and its making to the classic titles. Following the title's announcement last month, the new trailer offers players a first proper look at its remastered bosses. Viewable below, it shows off various updates to... 1 second, let me just get another drink. Oh my god, I nearly died then. You went and played this, Kain. Kain, right, 1 second. I don't know if this is the actual trailer. Oh my god, it's out the day after my birthday. Oh my god, it's out the day after my birthday. Amazing. So definitely be copping that. Definitely 195%. They're going to say that our goal with the character models was to improve the textures as much as we could, ensuring that they blend with the apocalyptic world. Matthew Ray, associate brand manager of Aspire, said, accompanying the PlayStation blog post. The models for Kain in both Soul Reaver and Soul Reaver 2 needed to be completely redesigned to mitigate the textural issues. With the increased polygon count, we felt it was important to bring this to look a lot closer to the original Kain we got to see in the original FMVs, which is a lot more detailed, showed more or less what the original intent was for the character. The original model of Soul Reaver 1 was especially limited, so now both games have a Kain that looks consistent between the two titles. Ray also discussed the addition of the map and compass to help players navigate Nosgoth. The introduction of the map and compass marks a thoughtful enhancement that blends modern gameplay conveniences with the preservation of the explorative experience the original titles were known for. The compass gently nudges the players in the right direction without giving away specific details of where to go or what to do next. The map is more of a reference than a tool and a guide. We also included a collection tracker for any health and energy power-ups so that you know that if you've gotten all of the collectibles within each area, all of the major Nosgoth features are present and accurately condensed to both setting and the gameplay. Players who don't want to use the compass have the option to also toggle it off. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remaster will be released on December 10th and will be available for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and the Epic Game Store. I was seeing if I actually had my copy of Soul Reaver 2 to hand. I don't think I do. It's somewhere on my shelf. It's somewhere on my shelf. I don't actually own a copy of Soul Reaver, the original one, anymore. Obviously, it was a PlayStation 1 game. I played it a hell of a long time ago. But Soul Reaver and Soul Reaver 2, absolutely phenomenal games. I'm just leaning over now just to see if I can see it popping out. Unfortunately, I can't. Mildly annoying. It'd be somewhere on my shelf. But genuinely, an unbelievable game. Does it show like the intro on this? I was just seeing then. No. But yeah, I am so in for this game. I can't wait to be able to play it. I might even stream it for you guys that have never seen it before and have a mild interest in like these old school type of platformer games. But yeah, they were a product of the time. Whether or not they hold up now, I'm not too sure, but hopefully they've redesigned some of the controls and stuff. But the whole atmosphere of Soul Reaver was amazing. I'm so glad that it's getting a remaster because, again, Croc is also getting a remaster. Croc is out this year too. Another amazing platformer game. Obviously, it's a lot more colourful and cutesy than Soul Reaver, being not based in an apocalyptic world. But yeah, Croc is also, and that's another one from my childhood, which me and my sister both thoroughly enjoyed. So I'll definitely be grabbing that one as well because my boy is 2, he's very nearly 3. He might be interested in playing video games at some point. I did try him with Lego Star Wars. He wasn't overly arsed about it. He did enjoy the colourful aspects of it, but it's a little bit complex in it. It's a little bit complex. You have to press too many buttons, so maybe it might be, I don't know, Alex the Kid. We'll start him off on that. My hair is all over the place, obviously, because I've not gelled it. It looks a bit shit. We've got one more news story for you today. It's not really a news story. It's I don't know if this is going to play. I hope it does. Did the sound play? I didn't hear it, so I'll do it for you. Free game Friday. Yeah, is where we tell you there's going to be a free game this week, and it is according to PC Gamer. Written by Morgan Park, goes on to say that the outside the holidays Epic stick to its weekly schedule of handing out freebies, so keep an eye out each week for the free choices. This week, Moving Out. Now, this is a game that I went and copped straight away. I think I've actually already got this on the console. However, this is a game That will be amazing to play over the Christmas time. So if you've not picked it up already, I suggest you go over and do. Well, Epic have given us the gift of challenging friendships this week with Moving Out being up for free. Moving Out is a co-op moving simulator where you'll team up with friends to try and move all kinds of furniture from one place to another while busting through the doors, windows, walls, and just about anything else in your way. While you might start out with houses, pretty soon you'll be maneuvering through some of the weirdest destinations imaginable. My e-back hurts just thinking about it. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to test your friendships, your relationships, or you're preparing for an argument, this is a very good excuse to be able to get it out there by sticking this on, because the arguments will be not few and far between. They will be ever present. My e-back's broke. Dave says, I thought the Raz something or other looked better with the semi-dreads look of the low-res PS version, personally. Raziel. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. Either way, Soul Reaver is definitely going to be getting copped, and it's definitely going to be getting played. But yes, Moving Out is going to be this week's Epic free game. So if you want to go over and get that now, you'll keep it on your account for eternity, or you lose your password, or someone ends up hacking your account and taking all the games from you, changing the email address, and you'll never be able to get back in again, and you have to start all over again. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's episode of The Scoop. It has only been myself. It has been a fairly quick show, apart from ranting on about entertainment versus mad skills on Twitch. Thank you very much for joining us again for this episode. If you have missed this episode, don't worry about it. If you're just catching the end of it, you can find this show available on all podcast services around the globe. And we will be back next Friday. Hopefully myself and Graham will be hosting this podcast for you. So if you want to help shape that show, there's two ways you can do so. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or alternatively get involved with our Discord. All we need from you is URL plus your thoughts and opinions. We will then give you our thoughts and opinions on the very next show, which will probably not be at 10 a.m. next Friday, but at some point during that day, we will give you the show. Stick around, we'll send you over to one of our friends who is currently streaming at this moment in time. I hope Wobbles is still live, because that's exactly where you're going to be going, so you can watch him suck major ass at Call of Duty Black Ops 6. But yeah, we'll be back tonight with some Call of Duty ourselves. May even have some friends joining us too, who even knows. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to bring you this podcast this morning. We do hope that you have a fantastic weekend if we don't catch you over it. And until next time, there's only one thing they want you to, and that, my friends, is stay frosty.